Hey everybody, it's your soul warrior. Welcome back to my channel. This video is all about dark entities, what to do if they're basically harassing you, and so much more. If you like this video, want to see more, give it a like, subscribe, leave a comment if you're going through this, or if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. This video is going to be a little interesting for me because I feel like I haven't talked about dark entities in a minute, but two things. One, I have been feeling that 2023, we're really going to be seeing an uptick in people awakening, specifically their psychic gifts. So maybe you already are on the path of spiritual awakening. You've already had your dark night of the soul. You've already been going through, and there's multiple of those, right? But you've already been doing a lot of that stuff. And now you're starting to experience psychic gifts. And I hate to say this, but I've had very few clients develop their psychic gifts, and the first thing that happens is like they see this powerful spirit guide and they feel this intense love and like all these like magical things are happening to them. I hate to burst people's bubbles, but the vast majority of the time the dark entities get to you first, and they pose as spirit guides and pretend they say all the right things to you. They say everything to stroke your ego, and it's just illusions and smoke and mirrors and all that kind of stuff. So I can't tell you how many people are like, I was visited by so-and-so spirit guide. And then I'm literally looking at them and the spirit guide is not. And so that's why developing psychic gifts the right way is super important, because otherwise you don't have the proper stranger danger radar system. And if you want to work on enhancing your psychic gifts, with a sound journey, I'm a musician and I create music that helps you enhance gifts, connect with your soul, all of those things. You can click whatever side it's going to be on. That little button is a sound journey for enhancing your psychic gifts and connection to soul, if that is what you're interested in. Okay, so now let's get into, and I have my little list here as always. Okay, so the first thing that I see people experience. So the first thing with psychic gifts is starting to see colors. I see that all the time. People start to see colors or start to kind of feel things are around them, but they can't really see what those things are. The four main gifts are clairsentient is to feel, claircognizant is to know, just have a knowingness. And then, so those are the first ones. This is in this order usually. And then clairaudient, which is to hear, and then clairvoyant, to see. You might not experience all of those. I usually find people experience what they need versus just experiencing all of them. So, but clairsentience is a very common one at first. So that's just like the feelings. But let's say you're seeing colors in meditation. And then let's say, and this again, tried and true. Let's say you start seeing eyeballs in your meditations. You start seeing an eye looking at you. Okay. So this is where they're kind of buttering you up. They're kind of like, they're looking at you. And these are dark entities, by the way. But beings of light are not going to look at you with an eyeball, I promise you. So they're kind of like looking at you and they're like, okay, can we get you? Do you like me? I like you. Do you like me? And I like to explain this. Imagine, so you know how sea turtles kind of do their birthing, right? Like they lay the eggs on the sand, and then when the sea turtles hatch, they have to make a mad dash to the ocean. And while they're making a mad dash, what happens? These like bird predators and things swoop down and get them or grab them or whatever. And so I don't know what the percentage is that actually makes it to the ocean, but it's not the percentage that started out. Okay. And it's literally the same thing. It's not quite as dramatic as that for psychic gifts. I always see it's like the entities feel your psychic ability awakening, and they're like, ooh, hello, do you like me? Do you like me? I like you. Do you like me? And so they'll show you the eyeball, they'll show you a face, and it'll just be looking at you. Now, this is where we incorporate the body, because I see so many people doing this wrong, and they're using the psychic gifts only in the head. Don't do this, because this is where the entities get you, right? Is when you're using only the head. So you want to drop into the body, which is why my sound journey, you should definitely do it if you want help with this. Because I'm telling you, these guys are tricksy hobbitses. They're going to get you. So you got to do what you got to do. Also, they can't actually hurt you, by the way. We'll get into that. But don't be afraid. It's okay. They can't actually do anything to you. So you want to move into your body first. Your heart center is your stranger danger alert system. Your heart will always tell you if there's love or if there's not. If you are unsure, if let's say you were in a session with me and I said, did you feel love when you talked to them? And you were like, oh, I don't know. Then it's a no. Then it's a no. You know love. When I connect with my spirit guides, it's like this overwhelming, like whoosh of just love, such deep love. It brings me to tears. So if you aren't experiencing that and you kind of are like, oh, I don't know if I did, then it's a no. And this brings me to my first point, which is you need to have clear boundaries. And the boundary needs to be, I only speak with beings of love. It has to be that. And you can't just say it in your head. You have to feel it, because then what happens, these guys, I'm telling you, they're so tricksy. So then they'll say, oh, okay. And then they'll come to you and they look like Jesus, or they look like, whatever you want to see. They'll look like Buddha. They'll look like whatever you're wanting to see. They'll look like it and be like, hi. And they're talking to you and they're like, hello, I'm here. Hi, it's me, Buddha. It's me, Jesus. It's me, fill in the blank. But they don't feel like love. And so this is where you have to bring in the heart and be like, nope, that's a no. And so I always imagine that I'm just going like this to them, like a bad play where like the person has like the top hat and like the cane comes out and like pulls them off the stage. That's the move I do of like, nope, you're not light, you're not love. See ya, goodbye. You have to do that. Don't be like, oh my God, I just nexted Buddha. You can't actually, like if it actually is Buddha, you're going to know, because you're going to be like, oh my God, this love feeling is like all encompassing. It is. It's really overwhelming. And you'll, especially if you're truly clairsentient, you will feel so overwhelmed by it. Like it's going to be insane and awesome. Okay. So make sure you're creating boundaries and I know it's fun, especially when you're new to psychic gifts. It's fun to be like, oh my God, I'm talking to this spirit guide. Whoa, I never did that before. And it might be like fun to do that, but just, that's when they get you. That I'm telling you. It's literally the same thing as dating. Like you want, let's say like you want a partner so bad, you're literally dating all these losers because, no offense, peace and love. But everyone has their good qualities too. But you're dating people that are treating you poorly because you want a partner so bad, right? And so then your standards are getting lowered because you'd rather have a partner than have someone who's actually the right person for you. And it's the same thing with this. I know you want to talk to beings and channel and get these cool gifts going, but you have to do it in the right way. Otherwise, I promise you, they will trick you and then you're going to feel dumb. And then you're going to be in a session with me and I'm going to be like, and you're going to be like, okay. All right. So the next thing, and I mentioned this earlier, they can't hurt you. They thrive. They get their power on illusion. So look at movies and TV shows and all this rhetoric in religion and all these things about like the big bad devil and dark entities and evil spirits and, coming to take your soul and damn you to hell forever and et cetera, et cetera. And that's just not true. They can't do that. There's no hell. Sorry, that's a hot take. I know, but there's no heaven. There's no hell. Okay. Anything that makes you feel like you need to like be really, really good and like do whatever like other people say so that you won't be banished. Like you're being played. You're being played. Okay. And that's exactly how they operate. They play upon your fear because when they kind of like come into your world, they want to energetically connect with you. And if you are a human being, you have trauma stored in your body. Because in our society, we're not taught how to release trauma. We have to kind of teach ourselves when we're, older and have like all this trauma already. So because of that, you have trauma within you, so they can connect with you, and they are connecting with you. Okay, so you need to understand that you may like say over and over again, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you. But if you're saying that and you're like afraid of them while you're saying it, they're going to be like, Okay. Ooh, big bad scary human telling me to go away. Okay, that's cute. And they're not actually going to do it. So you need to understand that there's actually nothing to be afraid of with them. And I wish I could remember who I heard this from, but I was watching something. If I think of it, I'll write it in the comments. But I was watching something where they said, angels will send you a message, but humans don't like to go outside. Humans don't like to change. And so the angel will whisper in your ear and will oftentimes ignore it and be like, I'll work on it later. I'll work on it later. Like, how many times have people had a major health crisis and like there were things leading up to it where they could have avoided that, but life gets in the way. We get really busy. Other things happen. It's not anyone's fault. And so you just kind of go, I'll work on it later. And so then the angel says, well, I have to save this person from this, So then they incorporate a demon and they say, hey, can you knock some sense into this person? And the demon says, gladly. I'm trying to do the genie where she goes like, okay, I'm done. Anyway, so then they send a demon. So angels and demons are working together. Positive and negative entities are working together to help you as the human. Okay. So I really think that's an important piece of it because I'll just speak for myself. I definitely am guilty of falling into kind of that victim thinking of, oh my God, these horrible things are happening to me. Like these entities keep visiting me and this is so annoying. And like, I wish it would go away. And there's like, and so that's not helpful. And what is helpful is to understand that they can't actually hurt you. They just are little shitheads and they're just like being sassy. And so you just don't be afraid of them is what I'm saying. They thrive on the fear. So if you just look at them and you're like, yo, what's up? Yeah, I don't actually have time for you. Goodbye. Then they're like, God, you're bored. I've seen this a million times when I work with clients. They are boring. The client becomes boring to the entity because they're not playing along anymore. And then the entity just like they just leave because they're like, ugh, fine. So it really helps to think of it in a funny way, I'm telling you. And I know it's hard if you've been like traumatized as I was as a child, like seeing these things and them like harassing you all the time. I totally understand how that's hard to laugh at that, but just try to see how it's not hurting you. And by the way, your higher self would never allow these entities to be in your field unless there was a positive reason for it. I promise you. You have to trust your higher self. You have to. You cannot make it through life if you are distrusting your higher self all the time, especially 2023, 2024 is going to be absolutely insane bonkers. And you need that stability and grounding of trusting the process and trusting your higher self. And I'm also saying that to myself. Okay. Cause me too. All of us have the same thing. We all distrust the process at times because we want it to be a certain way. And it's just the human experience and it's okay. Okay. So then you want to ask yourself, why are they drawn to me? What's the connection? Now you don't want to ask the entity this, okay? You don't want to ask them, oh, why are you drawn to me? Because they'll just lie all day long. They don't care. They have no consequences for lying, right? So instead, what you want to do is, and this is what, best way I can say it is just to explain that the reason why these entities are even around is because they are trapped. They're trapped for a multitude of reasons. And there are also reasons that I don't even know about, but reasons that I do know about. They died in a way that they felt was unfair. So maybe they were murdered or they died and people were thinking bad things about them. And so they like stayed on the earth because they can't stand the fact that like their legacy is ruined or people are talking crap about them. Let's see. They left and let's say like they left like young children behind or they left someone who like really needed their help behind. So they want to stay and like help them. So just there are things that anchor people who've passed on. There are things that anchor them here and keep them here. Someone who has had like multiple lifetimes of really insane abuse. And now the abuse is like so insane that they literally, because the other thing I see is that someone will, when they die, they'll get ripped, like their soul or their conscience, their higher self. I don't know what word to use, but like their spirit will get ripped like this. And like this part is the anger and frustration and fear and hate and all of that. And then this part is the pure soul that then moves on to the next life. But this part is still there and it's still them. It's just not fully them. So that's what I see. So it's not that this person isn't, it's not necessarily that they're not reincarnating. It's that they like ripped themselves. And so the danger of that is like now they're not connected, you know, but I have seen people reunite themselves with their fragmented souls, because then when this healthy part reincarnates and then eventually like does this healing work and all this stuff, then they can open their heart and like call back those other pieces of themselves. So that's really cool. Again, that's a whole separate video. Let me know if you're interested in hearing about that. So you want to ask what the connection is, because again, all of us have trauma. So as an example, there was one entity that was like glommed onto me. Oh my God, she would not leave me alone. It was so annoying. And she looked, unfortunately, I'm clairvoyant, so I see everything. And she literally looked like the girl from The Ring. It was so sick. Peace and love, but I really was not into it. And she would scream my name at night and wake me up so that I couldn't sleep. I had such insomnia. She would like go whoosh, 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 like around my bed. And of course, she's not in the physical, but because I'm so hypersensitive to things, I can like feel it. She just like wouldn't let me sleep. She was just torturing me. Like literally, she was torturing me. And so I learned this trick that then caused her to leave. And the trick was I moved deeply into myself and I felt where we were connected. I felt where she was drawn to me. And where she was drawn to me was my belief system that I am helpless. My learned helplessness, as my therapist says. And she has the same learned helplessness. And when you feel like you're helpless in your life, you become an absolute victim in your life and you feel like you can't do anything to solve it. And you feel like horrible things are just constantly happening to you over and over and over again. And then you're just screwed for life. So we both had that. And this was in 2020. And so when I realized that, I started to heal that in myself. It's still not fully healed. I'm still going through that, but I healed like a large chunk of it. And I swear to God, like as soon as I understood that and I understood the ways in which I still act very helpless and I released that, I basically just let myself see that, yeah, I do act immature, you know, because that's a lot of it is just admitting to ourselves like, yeah, I do this and like, that's not cool and I got to change. But it just letting go of the shame. Letting go of the repressed part, the part that makes you want to repress it is the shame. Just letting go of that shame is like all you need, because shame acts as the paperweight on top of the emotion, because you at some point in your life felt like, oh, I don't want to see that because that's not complimentary of me, obviously. And so when I released that, it was over. Like she was just gone and she never came back. And so that's when I understood, wow, these entities are here to be our mirror and teach us things, which is so cool. So I know it's hard, especially if you are sensitive like me and they're literally torturing you. Just try your best to see it as a learning opportunity for yourself, to know yourself deeper. I promise you it'll go by a lot easier. And then my last trick is bring in the light. So let's say you are seeing all these like crazy things all the time and you're nervous and you can't sleep at night and they're just all over everywhere, you know, always call in your spirit guides. So I use multiple tricks for this. I'm specifically, ever since I started talking to spirit guides, it's been exclusively Egyptian gods and goddesses that have come to me. Ra was the first one that came to me, and that was a really cool experience. Okay, that's a separate story, but that was a really cool experience. And then Isis came and Hathor came, and just like the whole crew basically. So what I do to bring in the light, since it's all my Egyptian friends, I'll draw one of two symbols. I'll either draw the Ankh or I'll draw the Eye of Ra, since once again, Ra is the number one homie. And so I'll draw the eye or the Ankh and I will place it. If they're harassing me in my sleep, I'll put it above my head. If they're, no matter, so wherever I'm feeling like, ugh, I'll just have that symbol. Sometimes I just put the symbol like in my shirt. I'll just draw it. You don't have to like buy anything. You just draw it, I put it in my shirt. I put it in my pocket. I put it above my head, whatever. It instantly makes me feel better. Instantly. And then the other things I do, I use frankincense to get rid of like the clutter. Because that's the thing. Entities love to kind of be in like cluttered areas too. So if you're someone who's like me and kind of messy, then they love that. So I will clean my whole space. I'll be nonstop running incense, run frankincense, or just whatever I'm feeling like. I mean, there's like a million things, but lavender is a really good one too. Yeah, I mean, do whatever you're drawn to, but my top ones are always frankincense and lavender. Of course, you know, I got my Zoroastrian roots. So frankincense, just a little history if you guys didn't know, the 3 wise men are actually Zoroastrian magi bringing frankincense and myrrh and gold and all of that. So I have a special connection with frankincense, myrrh, and gold as a result of that. So that's why I use it, but you can use whatever you want to. But smell, sight, those smell and sight. I always ask myself when I'm scared, okay, what smell can help me? What sight can help me? So the symbol and the incense. I also light candles that have fragrances that I really am drawn to. So rose, I love using rose. I could go on and on. Let me know if you want me to do a video that's more on that kind of stuff. I don't know too much, by the way. I just know what I personally use. And then you just want to be open to the light too, because if you're in that fear mode, fear mode basically makes your heart go like this to love. And you're like, fine, I guess I'll work on this by myself since no one's helping me, right? That's kind of the energy. So open up the heart, let the heart shine, and say, okay, this sucks. This situation sucks right now. And I do this for anything, even beyond entities. If anything is sucking in your life, open up the heart and say, okay, this sucks. And also, I am ready to see how this is benefiting me. I'm ready to see that. Because I'm telling you, your higher self will never let you down. I promise you. It might seem like that. It might seem like they're letting you drown and being like, ha 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 ha, human, stupid human. But it's not that way. I promise you it's not. I promise you it's not. I had to learn that the hard way. I'm still learning that from day to day. I'm not perfect. I don't do that 100% of the time, but I do try my darndest. So those are my tips to help you when you encounter dark entities. Again, if you have any questions or anything, leave a comment. I'd love to interact with you. Like it, subscribe, send it to a friend maybe that needs it, save it for later, share it, all the things. Interact in all the ways. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.